Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about rescue scenario number 2. So for this one, again, remember to organize it so that it works with your local environment, and also set it up so that you can repeat the scenario until everybody feels confident, right? So for this scenario, you're going to assign some divers. We're going to have unresponsive diver here. We're going to have some rescuer. You could have gear handler, and then maybe shore or boat support, right? A lot of that information, remember, it's in the instructor manual for the performance requirement, but a lot of cool info is in the PADI's Guide to Teaching. And really, it makes it super easy. If you just follow what's in there, you'll be able to organize a nice scenario. So in there, we want to organize a little bit of a scenario. You have the divers in the water. We might want to organize it so that it looks like maybe a buddy team is coming up from a dive. We have somebody asking for help. One of the diver might just weakly ask for help and then suddenly, just falls unconscious. And so we want to then organize the rescue from there. It's all in all very similar to the rescue exercise number 7, so it needs to be set up, right? As you set this up, because the scenario will lead to exiting the diver, we also want to have a few things set up on land or on the boat. One will be to have a mannequin. As we're going to move to the live person and we're going to go into CPR, we'll want to have a mannequin to be able to conduct the CPR. We might want to have an AED there as well to use on the unconscious non-breathing diver. We can even, look at the oxygen unit. This could be all added to the scenario, making it very realistic. So as you start the scenario, you'll have that unresponsive diver at the surface. We'll want to see a nice approach. As we're going to see in some of the rescue exercises video, on rescue exercise 7, there's a nice approach, right? Trying to find out what's happening with the diver and then turning them over and then making sure that, you ask for help, you make sure they're buoyant, they're not going to go underwater, and then goes through the exercise of removing gear and providing rescue breaths. So we'll want to set that up in your local environment. And as the rescuer is bringing the diver closer to the boat or the shore, we'll want to set up an exit, right? So getting the victim out of the water, it doesn't have to be a one-on-one. You can have help from maybe bystanders or the divers and make sure you don't hurt yourself and you effectively get the diver out of the water. Once you have the diver out of the water, the instructor, you'll be telling the students that now this unresponsive diver is also not breathing. So at this point, we'll have a little switch where you have the mannequin in place. So the rescuer will work on the mannequin now. We're going to go into CPR mode. And then there, you find a couple of times you go through a few cycles of rescue breathing and compression. And then once this is done, you might be moving to AED use, right? So use the AED on the mannequin. And that's a nice training to be able to use AEDs as well. So on top of that, if you have a rescue unit, you can also have supplemental oxygen when you give the rescue breath, maybe with a pocket mask. And certainly another opportunity to promote continuing education, right? Because as a rescue diver, definitely want to be able to provide oxygen, definitely needs to be able to provide CPR and first aid. So those are opportunities, again, to make sure that's part of your training. Once the exercise is done, remember, repeat it, right? Repeat until everybody feels confident. They're very happy. They feel that they mastered the skill. They could help someone in a similar case. And so don't hesitate to repeat this. Have everybody go through the scenario, making sure that everybody has a chance to do that. The other thing you want to keep in mind is once the scenario is done is also to look at the debrief, right? Making sure everybody had a chance to meet the performance requirement. And then you might ask them to, critique themselves on how everything went, right? And you can use some of the questions. Those questions are found in the slates, so in the cue cards. You have a list of questions in there. They're also in the PADI's Guide to Teaching. And so, some of them could be, did you assess the victim's condition, right? Did you do a look, listen, and feel, for example? Or, look for circulation. Did you assess how long it would take to reach help, right? So this will change the scenario a little bit. What emergency can summon as quickly as possible, right? You have what was the equipment removed, right? So did you do that because you were further out, away from the boat or the shore? You also, how effectively was first aid and CPR, right? Could it be improved? Is there something you can do on the way you do your compression or the way you give the breath, making sure there's a good seal? And so what worked, what didn't, and what would you do differently? So those are ways to get your student to think about the scenario, maybe improve themselves a bit. And by really following what you have in the PADI's Guide to Teaching, it just makes it easy to run these scenarios. So don't hesitate. Always follow what we have here. All the tools are there for you. And certainly cue cards, instructor guide, and the PADI's Guide to Teaching. All right, thank you.